A little bit about pollinators this week. And so society's really interested in pollinators. Why do we need pollinators? Help. Yeah, you don't have to look at that, but to get fruit, okay? So anything you want to eat might not seem like it's a fruit, like it's a vegetable or it's a grain or it's something, and it needs pollination. Also, it helps plants reproduce. So clover, if it's not pollinated, it'll die out, and then the cows won't be able to eat it, and we won't get milk. So a lot of things are tied to pollination and food. That's the number one thing. There's also a lot of people that study like ecology, kind of like Michael, and he was telling you how there's rare plants and native plants, and we want to keep all the plants going, right? So like just in the news this week, they were talking about a really tiny plant that's going to stink, leaving, not going to have any more, there's hardly any left, and it's pollinated by an ant, okay? So they're trying to keep it going so the botanists will have all these different plant life, okay? So that's really important. So you all, I know, talked about the honeybees. They're the number one pollinator. Why do you think the honeybees are considered our number one pollinator? What?
They pollinate flowers and make honey.
They pollinate, they have fuzzy bodies, so they can get pollen attached to them real easy. They have what are called pollen sacs on their legs, so they can store pollen and take it back to the hive. They're very interested in pollen, but also we can move them around. They live in this nice way that we figured out how to keep them in a man-made hive and manipulate them and move them from site to site. So here in Rockingham County, we use honeybees to pollinate strawberries. Well, strawberries only bloom for about 6 weeks. So we only really need the bees in those fields for about 6 weeks. So we can get a hive, close it up at night, take it in a truck, and leave it in a strawberry field, and it can pollinate for about those 6 weeks, okay? That's why it's the number one pollinator, because we can control it and move it where we want, okay? They reproduce really quickly, and they make good pollinators. But we have lots and lots of other insects that pollinate. There's wasps and flies and the ants I discussed, oodles of different insects, and they all pollinate in certain ways, and different things are attracted to different things, okay? So a lot of the flies are attracted to pawpaw. Do you know what pawpaw is? It's a soft fruit?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, well actually the flowers smell like rotten fish.
Ew.
So honeybees wouldn't go near them, but flies who like kind of decomposing stinky things will go and pollinate the pawpaws so we can get the pawpaw fruit, okay? So there's lots of different insects, and we also have people that pollinate. Just walking through that trail, you might have on your legs got some pollen from one plant to another plant. Probably not because it was mowed, but if it was more of a wild field, you could. Deer, dogs, they can all spread pollen, okay? We have hummingbirds that spread pollen, bats spread pollen. There's lots of things. So all it means is you take pollen from one flower and you move it to another, okay? So on this handout, and you can look at this, they have breakfast without bees. So you see there's no fruit, no jam, no cream in the coffee, and no fruit juice, okay? So that would be with no pollination. Down here it shows you the poor pollination. There's 2 cucumbers here. One's deformed because it didn't get pollinated all the way, and one's formed. This is a picture of a butterfly being a pollinator. Over there where Jared is blue orchard bee. That's another nest that's man-made that we can get a pollinated bee for apple trees. It pollinates really well. It only has bees that are active in the spring. So people that have swimming pools that don't like bees, I tell them to get a blue orchard bee because they usually go into their nest before people start swimming. They're very active in March, April, but by May they're winding down. So that's a great way to have a pollinator that's not going to annoy you with your swimming pool. Yes. Okay, so one of the problems with the honeybees is they have aromites, and those are what we call insects that are attacking honeybees, a different insect. And they're like, anybody knows of like leeches? They're like blood sucking, so these things suck all the nutrients out of the honeybees.
I've seen some of those before, and I call them beetles.
Well, they're mites, and they actually get about as big as a basketball. on the, like you having a basketball on you is how much size they are compared to a bee.
Is it this one?
No, it's down there in the corner.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Okay? So it's really important to keep, pollinators around. Who knows one of the reasons that they're disappearing? The main reason.
Pollution.
Okay? Pesticides is, but it's not probably what you think. In pesticides, we have something that's called insecticides, and they help you control things like Japanese beetles, ants in your house, ticks. But what's actually killing the pollinators is herbicides. They're for weed control. People like to have their house look really nice and neat and crisp, and so they're spraying Roundup and paraquat and things like that. And those are killing what we consider pollinators. So Brenda and Rex have a great farm here with lots of things that they let different plants come up. And I don't want to offend Rex, but a little bit messier around, like where you were with the asparagus. It wasn't one marigold, one sunflower, one coneflower. They let things kind of grow a little more wild. And that's great. The pollinators like it because not only do we need the bees and the flowers, we need to have the other part of the bee, the life cycle of the insect. So with butterflies, we need things that the caterpillars will eat and live on, okay? So if we could spray less weed control and have a little more wilder looking areas or meadows and things like that, we could attract them. But things that you could do at your house that maybe your parents would think was okay was plant things for the caterpillars. So plant beets and let them eat the tops. Plant carrots and let the caterpillars eat it. Plant parsley and let it go, you know, natural. Let things like the coneflowers and herbs and things like that grow, flower, and then die out naturally. So look kind of messy. Okay? That would really help with a lot of the flies, the wasps, the bees, things like that. Okay? We are trying to attract lots of insects so that they can pollinate. Okay, that's my quick talk. What y'all think?